There was a moment they thought they had you. A whisper behind closed doors. A smirk shared in shadows. A sentence crafted not to speak truth, but to poison your name. They believed that if they cursed your story, the world would forget your truth. They thought if they stained your reputation, it would dim your light. But Capricorn, what they didn't know is that your name was never just a name. It was a symbol, a shield, a cosmic signature written into the fabric of time. You see, there are those who play with darkness and think it won't stain them, who speak harm over others and believe it vanishes with the wind. But karma does not forget the sound of a lie, and the universe never misplaces the weight of a word spoken in envy. They thought they had hurt you, but in reality, they only cursed themselves. Because when you curse a name that was built with integrity, when you try to tear down a soul that has walked with discipline, you don't just speak against a person. You declare war on a purpose. And that, Capricorn, is a battle no one walks away from unscathed. You didn't respond with vengeance. You didn't expose them. You didn't even defend yourself. You did something far more powerful. You endured. You outlived the lie. And now, their curse. It's becoming their karma. Slowly. Surely. Undeniably. So stay here, Capricorn. What you're about to hear is not just a story. It's a revelation. A divine reversal. A truth long buried is about to rise, and it wears your name. Part 1. When words became weapons. It didn't begin with a firestorm. It began in shadows. It began when your name was spoken not in reverence, but in hesitation. A glance. A whisper. A carefully worded joke that wasn't funny. A compliment so sweet it left a bitter taste. The moment they couldn't match your integrity, they decided to rewrite your story behind your back. They couldn't outwork you. They couldn't match your discipline. They couldn't hold the silence the way you do. So they found another way. They cursed your name. Not with rituals. Not with spells. But with doubt. With distorted words, casual gossip, and stories twisted just enough to sting. And they thought no one would notice. Because that's how cowardice works, it smiles at your face, while it cuts you when you turn around. They thought they could control your reputation, drag your name into the mud and walk away untouched. Because they believed your silence meant you wouldn't fight back. But Capricorn, they never realized your silence was a wall they could not break. And the name they tried to bury was already rooted too deep in the earth to be moved. You felt it though. You noticed the distance, the opportunities that slipped, the friends who hesitated, the shift in energy in rooms where you once felt at home. For a moment, you asked yourself, did I do something wrong? You questioned your energy, your presence, your worth. But this was never about your mistakes. This was about their insecurity. Because Capricorn, your strength exposes other people's weakness. And not everyone knows how to face what you reflect back to them. So they tried to diminish what they couldn't match. They tried to curse what they didn't understand. But here's the law they forgot. When you curse a name built on honesty, you invite dishonor into your own life. And when you speak destruction over someone whose hands have built nothing but truth, you begin to tear apart your own foundation. Their words became weapons, yes, but not against you. They turned in their hands, and the curse they sent out began circling back. You didn't need to fight, because karma doesn't need your permission. It only needed time. Life lesson. In a world where words can be used as daggers, your silence can become a shield. You don't have to defend yourself against false stories. Time, energy, and truth always reveal what gossip tries to bury. Let your life speak louder than the noise. What they use to curse you will return to them, multiplied. Part 2. The quiet rise of the mountain. They expected a reaction. They expected you to lash out, to break under pressure, to defend your name in desperation. But Capricorn, you didn't fall for the trap. You didn't chase validation. You didn't trade your peace for their approval. You disappeared, not in defeat, but in focus. Because while they talked, you were building. While they gossiped, you were healing. While they watched you from the shadows, You were rising in silence. This is the part they never understood. You don't announce your every move. You don't post your power. You let the results speak for themselves. And by the time they notice, it's already too late. Your rise doesn't need permission. And your strength doesn't need applause. Because you are the mountain. You don't rush. You don't crumble. You don't scream to be seen. You let time do the talking. They mistook your calm for weakness. They thought your boundaries meant you had no backbone. They thought your silence meant surrender. But really, it was strategy. It was sacred protection. Capricorn, your soul was busy preparing. You were digging deeper, laying stronger foundations, leveling up in private. And while they thought they had buried you with their whispers, you were becoming something they could no longer reach. They built castles of lies. You built endurance. They invested in manipulation. You invested in mastery. They tried to win by being loud. You won by staying consistent. Because your journey doesn't run on noise. It runs on intention. And every quiet step you took was a seed. Now those seeds are breaking through the surface and the harvest is undeniable. They don't understand why you still rise. Why your peace is stronger than ever. Why things keep aligning for you. But you do. Because you didn't break when they tried to bend you. You didn't fold when they tried to isolate you. You simply returned to the source, your discipline, your truth, and your higher purpose. And now, your name is no longer under attack. It's under divine protection. Life lesson. Not all battles are meant to be fought out loud. Sometimes, the most powerful comeback is quiet progress. Let others waste their energy proving a point. You build. You grow. You rise, not to prove them wrong, but because you were always meant to go higher. Let your focus be your revenge. Let your consistency be the thunder they never saw coming. Part 3. Divine delay, divine protection. Sometimes it looked like you were losing. Sometimes it felt like they were winning. You were left out of conversations. Overlooked for opportunities. Cut off from circles you once poured yourself into. And deep down, it stung. Because you knew your intentions were clean. You knew your hands were honest. And still, you were pushed aside. But what you didn't realize then was this. Not every closed door is a punishment. Some are divine protection. The meetings that didn't happen were designed to shield you. The relationships that crumbled were interruptions to stop deeper betrayals from growing. The delays you hated were the universe adjusting the timing. So your breakthrough would arrive with protection, not exposure. You see, Capricorn, they cursed your name and expected that curse to reach you. But it couldn't. Because something stood in the way. Something ancient. Something sacred. Something that watches over those who walk with quiet honor. Your name, though spoken with venom by others, was already spoken with favor by the divine. And every time they tried to touch what was meant for you, the path shifted. The energy redirected. You were removed from situations that looked like rejection, but were actually intervention. They called it your downfall, but it was your detour. A sacred exit from a trap they thought you'd never see coming. This is what they'll never understand. The universe is not passive. It doesn't sit back while harm is being planned. It watches. It weighs. It waits. And when someone sends out a curse wrapped in envy, that energy doesn't disappear. It collects. It circles. And it returns. Not when they expect it, but exactly when they can't escape it. And you've been kept away not because you were forgotten, but because you were being preserved. Preserved for a time when your growth could no longer be touched. When your harvest would be too blessed to be blocked. When your name would carry too much clarity to be twisted. So while they whispered destruction, heaven whispered your redirection. And you were not buried. You were being rooted. So that when you rose, it wouldn't just be to succeed. It would be to stand unshakable. Life lesson. Sometimes the very things that feel like rejection are divine redirections. When doors close unexpectedly, when people pull away, it's not always a loss, sometimes it's the universe blocking what you can't yet see. Capricorn, trust the delay. It may be the wall that stopped a curse from reaching you. Your purpose is too protected to be derailed by noise. Keep walking, even when you don't understand. Because one day, what didn't make sense, will make you invincible. Part 4. When Karma finds its voice. Karma doesn't always arrive with thunder. Sometimes, it moves like a soft wind, unnoticed at first, until it rearranges everything they thought was solid. At first, they thought they'd gotten away with it. They saw no immediate consequences. Their lies spread without resistance. Their alliances seemed strong. Their steps felt easy. But slowly, almost invisibly, things began to shift. Plans that once came together now fell apart. Trust that seemed unshakable began to crack. Doors that used to open without effort now stayed closed. And they couldn't explain it. What they failed to see was that they had triggered a sacred law. What you send out returns. Always. Every rumor they whispered became an echo in their own relationships. Every manipulation they used began to erode the ground beneath their ambitions. Every secret plot against your peace grew into chaos in their own world. It wasn't you who retaliated. You never stooped to their level. You didn't need to. Because the universe keeps a ledger. And it balances without bias. Capricorn, while you continued in silence, while you healed, focused, rebuilt, life was correcting the imbalance. Their blessing became burdens. Their comfort became confusion. Their certainty began to shake. And now, when they hear your name, they no longer feel victorious. They feel exposed. Because deep down, they know that what they tried to destroy is rising. And they know that what they tried to hide is starting to show. The mask is slipping. The truth is surfacing. And their conscience is louder than ever. They feel it late at night. In the quiet moments when distraction fades. The unease. The regret. The haunting realization that their attempt to harm you has harmed them in return. And the most painful part, they can't undo it. Because the curse wasn't just what they spoke. It was the intent behind it. And that intent is now the seed of their unraveling. Capricorn, your hands are clean. Your name is protected. Your silence, that calm, composed strength, became the mirror they never wanted to face. And now they're looking into it. And seeing themselves clearly for the first time. Life lesson. The universe doesn't always shout its justice. But it always delivers it. When others plot your fall, do not waste your energy fighting shadows. Stay true to your path. Your healing, your consistency, your quiet work, they become the response. Let karma do what it was designed to do. Speak for you when words are no longer needed. Part 5. The name they tried to bury. They thought they were done with you. They believed your silence was the end of the story. That the damage they caused had sealed your fate. But Capricorn, they forgot who you are. They forgot that your name was never just built on popularity. It was built on patience. On time. On sacrifice. On integrity so consistent that no rumor could erase it. They tried to bury your name. But it was already seeded in sacred ground. And what's buried in truth doesn't die. It grows. And now your name is rising again. But not as a defense. As a declaration. Every step you've taken in silence has echoed in places they can't touch. Every choice to rise above instead of retaliate has built a legacy louder than any lie they ever told. You walk differently now. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because you no longer carry the weight of betrayal. You've outgrown the version of yourself that needed validation. You've outlived the shadows they tried to keep you in. And now your presence, it speaks without a sound. You are the proof. You are the living answer to every question they planted in others' minds. They said you were difficult. But people now see your boundaries as wisdom. They said you were cold. But now others admire your emotional discipline. They said you were finished. But now your name is being mentioned in rooms they're not even invited to. That's how karma works. Not as punishment, but as realignment. You didn't have to force anything. The truth simply outlasted the lie. And while they are still trying to manage the chaos they created, you are building peace. Not just external peace, but internal stillness. A knowing. A sacred quiet that no storm can shake. They thought your silence meant defeat, but it was evolution. And now, your elevation is undeniable. Life lesson. Your name carries energy. Guard it. Honor it. Let your actions shape it, not their opinions. When others try to stain your legacy, don't get pulled into the dirt. Stay rooted. Because if your name is planted in truth, no lie will ever grow over it. What they tried to bury has bloomed, and what they cursed has become their reminder. You were never theirs to destroy. Conclusion. Rise quietly, stand untouched. Capricorn, this was never about revenge. It was about revelation. About letting the truth do what truth always does: rise, steady and undeniable. They cursed your name, but your life became the correction. They thought they'd written your ending, but the universe was only pausing the page so you could return stronger, wiser, unbothered. You've seen what betrayal looks like. You've felt what silence costs. And still, you've chosen to rise, not as someone hardened by hate, but as someone softened by wisdom. You know now what they don't. That your strength never needed to shout. It only needed time. The energy they used against you, it turned. The name they tried to damage, it restored itself. And the lesson, it belongs to them now. Let them carry the weight of what they tried to destroy. Let them live with the memory of their own choices. You are free. Not because justice came in some dramatic way, but because you outgrew the need to prove anything. Your existence is the answer. Your focus is the mirror. Your peace is the final word. Life lesson. When people curse your name, let it be. Don't defend it with noise, defend it with clarity, with purpose, with growth. Your greatest power is in choosing not to become what they hoped you would: broken, bitter, reactive. Instead, rise with dignity, build in silence, and trust that whatever is meant for you cannot be stolen by slander. Their curse never touched you, but it never left them. If this message touched your spirit, declare it in the comments. I rise above. Let those 3 words carry the weight of everything you've walked through. And if you're ready to continue this journey of revelation, truth, and divine timing, subscribe to Zodiac Secrets Revealed. There's more waiting for you. More truth. More protection. More insight for your soul. Because Capricorn, this is your season. This is your silence turned into strength. This is your rise. And nothing, not envy, not gossip, not betrayal, can touch what's been blessed by time and truth.